Hi, everybody. Welcome to my presentation. It would not let me. Oh, that jumped too early. Oh, sure. It would not let me do this. No, it would not let me do this um, before I shared my screen. So, anyways, I did my research paper over the Lorax and its political allegory over climate change and basically Dr. Seuss foreshadows future events if we don't change our daily habits. So. There are three main characters in the Lorax, as you can see, with all the pictures. We have the Lorax, we have the Onceler, and we have the young boy. So this story begins with the young boy wandering into the forest that once was beautiful, full with trees, full with life, but now that's left is ungrown grass, empty pasture, very boring, very bleak. And the only thing that was left there was a pile of rocks that said unless on it. And so the young boy was curious as to what happened in the forest. And he approached the Onceler's tower and asked him what had happened. So after he paid the Onceler what he wanted for the secret, the Onceler told him what happened. So basically, the Onceler, long time ago, approached the forest and saw that it was beautiful, it was green, and he took a liking to the truffle trees and he thought, I can do something with this. And so what he did was he chopped down one of the truffle trees and made a theme. And this proved to be very beneficial for his wealth and it sold like wildfire. Everybody wanted these themes, everybody loved these things. But the Lorax approached him and was like, I speak for the trees. What are you doing to my trees? You can't be doing that. No one's gonna buy these. And then his first customer comes along and buys a theme. And so he's struck with an idea and he's like, I can make money off this. And so that's exactly what he did. He chopped down tree after tree after tree and sold these fiends to everybody who wanted them, called his family, and made a factory, built a whole factory from the ground up, and chopped down these trees one by one. Well, the effects from the factory, its smoke that it was giving, its glippity glop that it was putting into the waters, eventually drive away all the animals and all the life out of the forest. And this upset the Lorax, and he kept telling him multiple times, don't do this, don't do this. And eventually, all the trees were gone, and he lost all his wealth. So, yeah. So, a little backstory on pollution. So, the Amazon rainforest is beautiful, vibrant, but it is shrinking in size due to the man-made wildfires that are destroying the trees that have stood there since the beginning of time. The primary reasons for the destruction of the Amazon rainforest are due to agribusiness and meat consumption. This is where they put all the cattle pastures that McDonald's utilizes, Burger King utilizes, that is shipped all across the globe, and they need mass amounts of cattle pastures to do this because obviously McDonald's and like Burger King are big businesses and are all over the globe, not just in the United States. And so 75% of the deforested land is cow pastures, and the other 25% is highways, dams, etc., stuff that industrialization has caused to happen. The Brazilian government has not done anything about this. They let these illegal fires keep taking on, and the rainforest, due to this, is close to its tipping point, which is devastating for the Earth's biome because the rainforest will eventually turn into a dry sauna, and we won't have anything like basically less air, less, basically it would be devastating for us, and we would not be able, it would set off the biodiversity of the earth, and then everything would be thrown off. Also, another problem, it's pollutions of the bodies of water in our big oceans, our lakes, our ponds, and this pollution occurs when basically a bunch of chemicals, mostly from fertilizer, causes a runoff of chemicals and debris into the Earth's waterways. And what this does is gets into the animals' systems, and that eventually gets into the food we eat, kills off like starfish, all that kind of stuff, kills off everything. And also there is man-made trash. A lot of people are careless with their trash and they'll throw it in the ocean. And that is devastating for the populations that inhabit the water because, like you've seen, the Save the Turtles movement, the turtles were getting caught and the little plastic, like round things that little pop cans are held in. And that causes them to choke and die. That happens to a lot of fish as well. So this marine trash is also harmful for us humans as little microplastics get into little fish that the big fish that we eat infects their systems and therefore disinfects the food we consume, which can make us sick. So what is the Lorax? Oh, that got off. Whatever. What is the Lorax trying to communicate? So it's political allegory. So the Lorax is basically Mother Nature, which is trying to, he is the speaker of the tree, speaker for the people who do not have a voice, or well, not the people, the plants, the animals that don't have a voice like us humans do. And he is trying to warn the onceler, who is basically someone who, it's big corporations that are greedy and want wealth and basically won't stop at anything for it. And he, the Lorax, is warning the onceler, which is these two right here, that it's not like, yes, the wealth is temporary, and yes, the wealth is good, but then it's going to be destroyed and you're going to run out and everything's going to be broke and now you won't have somewhere to live. And the young boy is like political, like climate advocates who want to go green or who are aware of the destructions that people like companies like the onceler have on the earth, and they are trying to stop them. So where does the government come in this? So although the majority of the American public is for slowing the spread of climate change and going green, the implication of this is not so simple. So the complexity of identifying the issue. So this is a problem because although, yes, you can see the smoke in the air and that kind of stuff, you can't identify, sorry, I lost my train of thought. You can't identify the problem necessarily from like the chemicals getting into the water. You don't know who exactly did that, which leads to the absence of jurisdiction. And jurisdiction is not really plausible in climate change politics, because since there's no jurisdiction, there's a lack of accountability for everyone. And so you can't put blame on one specific group because everyone is technically contributing to climate change by using our cars, using plastic items. Every day we are contributing to climate change, so we can't blame everybody. So that is also a problem. And the lack of trust in action. A quote from the Brookings said, "It's the lack of trust in government that may be one of the foundational barriers to effective environmental action. We don't trust our government to be able to do something about it. And also we are not willing to change our habits. Like, yes, we don't want more and more greenhouse gases to be emitted into our ecosystems, into our atmosphere, but we also are not willing to give up driving our gas cars. We are not willing to stop using plastic items, and we are not willing to stop flying on commercial airplanes that contribute to these problems. Even though the United States has not done too much for climate change because it's not high on their priority list, they have done some things. So greenhouse gas emissions are regulated throughout the United States via Environmental Agency Greenhouse Gas Reporting System. And this has led to an increase of the greenhouse gases that haven't been emitted into our atmosphere because everyone is seeing the information and they're gathering who is emitting what things and preventing them from doing excess amounts, like basically limiting them to, hey, this is as much as you can do, you can't do more. And also in 1982, the United States Congress established a toxic waste inventory, which releases to the public what toxins are being released into the environment, which is important because now the American public is aware of what toxins are being put into our inventory, and the companies that are putting this toxic waste into our environment are like, ooh, I don't want to be known for doing that, so then they lessen their use of toxic waste. So, in conclusion, although the government's level of intervention may be minimal, we can all be like the little boy in the Lorax and care enough to make a difference. At the end of the Lorax, the Onceler discovered the meaning of unless on the rocks, which means unless someone cares like you. And so he gave the last truffle tree seed to the little boy and told him, go plant a forest and get the Lorax and his animals back. And so being aware of the issue at hand is the first step in the right direction. And also there are things that you can do individually, which is try to use products that are environmentally friendly and find interest groups that can assist in changing the vigorous cycle of constant industrialization and constant climate change into our atmosphere, because it's hard, because if you individually can't necessarily do much, but if you unite with a group of people and an interest group, that can influence political policy. And we may not be able to fully prevent all effects of climate change, but we can try to keep it to a minimum, like the Lorax would have always wanted. Thank you guys for listening. Love y'all. Okay, stop sharing.